I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different, and every breakup is different. Work with me, and you'll get professional help on your situation. Just click on the link in the description below, or go to my website, AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about second chances. So the focus on this video is going to be more about if you should consider getting back with an ex that maybe cheated on you or lied to you, did something to betray your trust. In other words, do you want to give them a second chance? Because I've been seeing a lot of people in the past week or so that have had an ex betray them, leave them for somebody else, cheat on them, and then they're sitting there kind of like stunned and heartbroken and wanting to work it out. And sometimes it's just, we're just so devastated and so heartbroken over it that it's like, we'll do anything to get them back, even though they cheated, even though they lied. And, you know, sometimes if we get that other opportunity with them, we feel like, okay, at least I had another opportunity. And once you have the opportunity to get them back, then you're like, I feel better. You know what? I'm not sure if I want to do this anymore. There are all kinds of situations that come up, and I see it all the time. I had so many this week. I would say to you this, guys, I actually had several other emails that I was considering to use with this particular topic, but please, you have to paint me a picture of your situation. When you send me an email coaching, paint me a picture. Help it, let it flow for me so I can easily understand it, because I had another one in mind that I was going to do with this, maybe do two together, but I just couldn't make it flow, and I was frustrated, so I just scrapped it and said, I can't. But please, please consider, I don't know you, I don't know your situation, I don't know the details. You got to paint that picture for me, and the more vivid you are in explaining it, the more I can make it sound good and understand it, put the pieces together, and then figure out what's going on. A lot of times you guys have these broken thoughts, and it makes sense to you, but try to read it as if you don't know the situation. And that way, we have better coachings together, and it ultimately will get you a much better coaching. Okay? So, today's video is based off an email that she sent for Skype. I did a Skype today with a woman who was in her 50s, with a guy who was in his 50s. They dated for 13 years. Long time. And through talking about the situation, I realized that I think we're not dealing with a guy who has a lot of integrity. And I think we're dealing with a guy who is kind of cowardly. And here's why. From what I could gather, it seemed that he did not get a lot of healthy, unconditional love from his parents. So when he was growing up, I think he was suppressing a lot of his needs. I think he was unable to tell his parents, I need this, I want this. And because he learned to suppress his needs his whole life, that is what he does in his romantic relationships. And what was going on is when he's unhappy, he's unable to express that to his partner. Why? Because he's afraid, if I express that to her, they could abandon me. Okay? So he keeps it to himself till he's so miserable that what do you think he does? He lines somebody up as a replacement, so now he can end the first relationship, not be alone, and just move on right into another relationship because he's scared to be alone. And I did ask her, has he ever been alone? And sure enough, she said, he has never been alone. So, I don't like that. I think it's cowardly, And I think it's using people. I remember what I told you guys. When people are anxious, they use other people to soothe their anxiety. So that's what he's doing. He's using this new person to soothe the anxiety of being alone. And so when he realized, I can get out of this one and comfortably get into this one, that's what he did. So, let me go ahead and read the email. She said that the breakup was out of the blue last April. And he wound up living with another person in August. So, they broke up in April, May, June, July, August. 4 months later, she thinks he was lining, this other woman up, and he transitioned right over to that person. And I think so too. At least in this case. She said, I went into my cave initially. I didn't make contact with him because I knew I would cry. I then considered that he was going through a breakdown. I asked to meet him, but he held me off until he had moved in with the other person. See, there's no breakdown. He lined somebody else up. And he wasn't risking it until he had safely moved over. And you're going to see why, and you're going to see a pattern. You're going to see it by the end of the video that this is a pattern for this guy, okay? Trust me. Let's go on here. I had no idea he was courting someone at that time. In October, I asked if we could get together for a quick catch-up. We did. For 15 minutes, and we talked about the weather. He said he was enjoying the meeting and that he'd like to do it again. Yeah, they agreed to just talk about casual stuff. They didn't want to go too deep for 15 minutes, and that was going to be the end of it. And that's what they did. The week before Christmas, he came up twice. Again, 15 minutes at a time. The second time, he brought fish and chips. That was a tradition of theirs. He texted Merry Christmas XX on Christmas Day. And on New Year's Eve, Happy New Year's XX. And then, 10 minutes later, M missing us. So look at this. Look at how this guy operates. He's got a girlfriend. He's texting his ex, meeting up with his ex, telling his ex he misses them while he's got a girlfriend. Now, what do you think he did when they were together? He was obviously lining this girl up to replace her initially, okay? And what I think happened is he was unhappy because, remember, he's unable to express his needs and tell his partner what he needs because he's afraid if he does, they'll abandon him. So what does he do? He lines somebody new up. Then, all of a sudden, bam, cuts off this relationship. He's obviously been unhappy for some time, and instead of trying to talk about it like an adult, he just ends it. Now, he moves over to the situation when he already knows he's got this lined up. So he's happy for however many months that is. Then things start to fall apart in this situation. And what do you think he's doing now? He's contacting his ex. He's slowly meeting up with her, spending 15 minutes at a time, texting her Christmas, using New Year's, using the indirect direct approach that I always talk about. And then he sneaks in M missing us. She's heartbroken over this guy. They were together for 13 years, remember that. And all of a sudden, he just left her. This was not a relationship they were fighting or unhappy. She was happy, and she thought he was pretty happy. Now, let me go back. I'm sorry this just came to my mind, but as we were talking, she did come out and say that there was a point where they were long distance due to some financial issues that were going on. And I believe she said it was for a year that they were long distance. Maybe, no, I actually think it was 3 years. They were long distance for 3 years. Yes, it was 3 years. And she would go visit him once a year. Now, he was seeing another woman during that time. Now, granted, they were long distance for 3 years. And so she decided, okay, you know what? I don't want him to be with anybody else, but I understand why he did it. She was kind of mature about it, but the bottom line is he was lying to her every single day. He was going out with another woman, seeing another woman, having an affair, leading her on, letting her believe, oh, I'm going home tonight, or I'll be at home in bed, and meanwhile he's out. Yeah, he's in bed all right, but not alone. So, that's what I'm saying. We're seeing a pattern here with this particular guy. And so, you can see he doesn't have any integrity, which was my problem with this situation. This guy does not act with any kind of integrity. So she said, I made contact 2 weeks ago to say I have things of his to drop off. He asked if he could come up and get them. While I was on the phone, I said, why didn't you come home? She goes, what was I thinking? Okay, why didn't I come home? Meaning like, why don't you come home? I miss you. He replied that he had thoughts of being betwixt and between. That must be I've never heard that saying before. Betwixt and between. Okay. He came up Friday a week ago. He stayed for an hour, had coffee, tried to fix my hedge trimmer. He said he could come. He asked if he could come up last week. He didn't ring or show up. So he's playing games. He's up and he's down. He doesn't know what he wants. He's trying to probably get out of this old relationship to see where it goes, but he wants to use her as backup because he's not sure what he wants yet. She said, I want him to invest in our relationship again. He knows I do. Yeah, that's part of the problem, is that he knows that he can date this other woman and you're still waiting for him. I know I'm suffering separation anxiety and I should have walked away, but I love this person and I miss him. He has said that there were more good times than bad. I don't know what he means by bad. Well, obviously, there were bad times and he didn't express that to you. It would be very helpful if he could communicate like an adult, but I don't see it happening with this guy. He's almost 60. I was a workaholic and worked all the given minutes and hours. I have given up full-time jobs now. I knew I worked a lot, but I thought he supported me. He was busy too. But I put my hand up to being the root cause of the breakup. Not that he actually verbalized that I was the issue. Well, look, it's not all on you, because two people must communicate like that. That's how they do it. And make a relationship work. If one person is miserable, they look sad. I'm sad. And, boy, this is ridiculous, right? If this person is sad and they don't tell this person can't fix it. So how is it all this person's fault? It's not. People have to communicate like adults. He's not doing it. Now, it's because he's probably terrified. Like, we've got some patterns here. He's terrified to be alone. He's never been alone. He didn't have a good childhood upbringing, so he didn't feel safe to communicate effectively what he needs with his caregivers. So now, he does that with his romantic partners. As a result, he's miserable inside. He doesn't tell you, you can't fix it. And then, instead of trying to work it out, all of a sudden, he's gone. Why? Because he's already got somebody lined up that he's been working on behind closed doors. And then, this relationship is starting to fall apart. And now, he's reaching out back to her again. And she's confused, because she's been with this guy for 13 years. And how could you not love somebody after 13 years? And you thought you had a great relationship. So, it's very difficult, and it's a personal decision on what you want to do in these cases. I could see exactly why she would want to try another chance with this guy. But at the same time, I got to call out, I don't think he has any integrity. He seems very cowardly to me, and he could do it again. You could get back with him, work all these things out, give him a second chance, and he could wind up doing the same thing to you again, because he's not going to be able to communicate and really say, this is what I need from you, this is what I want from you. So, there are a lot of different aspects you have to look at in these situations. If you want to take back that somebody's lied to you and betrayed to you, you know, that is always a personal decision that I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. But I will say how I see it. The way I see this guy, he's a coward, he's a liar, he's a cheater. Remember, he was cheating on her when they were doing long distance. He's lining other people up. And And now he's got a current girlfriend, and he's doing it to her with this woman. So, is that the kind of person you want to get back with and give another chance? That's up to you. But I can tell you, I'll give you the best strategies on how to making that happen, and her and I came up with a nice plan for that as to how to handle it if she decides she wants to take him back. But if you want to get my help personally, go to my website, AskCraig.net, sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. We could do an email coaching together, or you could get to talk to me for a whole hour. Doesn't that sound groovy? Not when I use words like groovy. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.